I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
What's up, everybody? You are now tuned into the Man Listen Show. This is C. Before we get started, let's hear a few words from our sponsors.
DD's Daiquiris is your #1 supplier of premium daiquiri mixes. You will love the taste of our classic margarita and signature strawberry mixes. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at DD's Daiquiris. DD is spelled DEEDEE. You can also find us at www.dd'sdaiquiris.com. DD's Daiquiris, giving good vibes to good people, one good drink at a time.
Are you looking for a virtual assistant who can help you with your scheduling, travel, research, and expenses? Demi Virtual Solutions is the answer for you. Demi Virtual Solutions also provides mobile notary services. They will travel to take care of your needs. So if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and need a virtual assistant or are looking for mobile notary services, contact them at 469-522-9005, and you can find them on their website at demivirtualsolutions.com. That's DEMI virtualsolutions.com. Are you in the state of Texas and looking for a knowledgeable loan advisor that will walk you through the process from application to closing? Well, then you need to contact Joe Byers at Trinity Oaks Mortgage. Trinity Oaks Mortgage offers FHA, VA, and conventional loans. They also have a first-time homebuyers program available. There is also down payment assistance available as well. Make sure you contact Joe Byers at Trinity Oaks Mortgage. You can reach Joe at 972-512-8990. Please buy the new book by Arika Nicole Moore, Diabolical Tales of Woe. Diabolical Tales of Woe is a thrilling collection of short horror stories that leave you in an excited trepidation to see what will happen next. Prepare to face one horrific encounter after the next in this captivating novel. You can find this book on Amazon in the Kindle and paperback version. That is Diabolical Tales of Woe by Arika Nicole Moore.
More Grace Counseling and Mediation Services offers individual and relationship counseling as well as mediation services to the community. At More Grace, healthy partnerships are valuable and beneficial. Please visit the website www.moregracecounseling.com for more information about our approach to counseling. More Grace Counseling and Mediation Services, where we offer more grace and more healing.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% black all the time. Please follow the show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Man Listen Show, and make sure you share the show and use the hashtag ManListen. I'm your host, Mar B. Let's go ahead and bring the crew in. So 2020 is almost over. I mean, we started the year with a lot of promise, and then March, COVID hit, right? And, everything just went crazy. The Man Listen Show, we try to keep everybody informed about the virus. We had several shows talking about it, but then we talked about this regular life as black people because life moved on. So, and continue with that trend going into 2021, we want to leave the old in 2020 and start 2021 hitting the ground running. So today we're going to talk about 4 things that we're going to leave in 2020 as a black community. So I'll go ahead and start it off. And one thing that I'm going to leave, that I want us to leave in 2020, is the division between black men and black women. We've talked about it a lot on the show, about how we've seen people promote the narrative that there is black men who are bringing down the black community and how they don't support black women. And there are some situations where that takes place and where brothers have to do a lot better. But this narrative that we as Black people, as Black men, aren't supporting Black women and that we're bringing the community down. It was promoted heavily on the internet, and we did our part as a show, as a group, to make sure that we shouted that down and said, and make sure people know that we're stronger together, much stronger together than when we are pointing fingers at one another and try to say that, you know, Black men are holding us back or Black women need to do better. So that's one thing I want to leave in 2020. What y'all think about that?
I definitely want to leave it in 2020, but I kind of feel like a lot of that too is like a false narrative. You constantly see people talking about like Black men and how they're usually dating or married outside of their race, when like statistics have proved that 86% of Black men are married to Black women. So I don't know if it's really so much that we're fighting amongst each other or if that's just outside forces trying to pit us against each other.
I definitely think that part of us leaving that in 2020 is shouting down and calling out those sort of agent provocateurs who try to promote that narrative, because you'll see plenty of them on social media. And if you kind of dig deep into it, you'll realize most of them, they aren't ADOS. And if you really look into it, they kind of have like a suspicious background. Like, who are your friends? Like, what people actually know you, or you out here just promoting the narrative? So when you talk about, remember how people used to say like folks that believe like us were like Russian bots? And we made a show about that. I actually think it's probably on the other end, those chaos creators that are trying to stoke that division among us. And we spend so much time and energy trying to say, well, you need to do better, you need to do better, you need to do better, instead of just saying, hey, you know what? The people who are oppressing us need to do better.
Yeah, I agree. I think also it kind of exasperated the whole situation in 2020 because it was an election year and everybody had their agendas about who's going to do what for what community and things like that. So I think that kind of factored in a little bit for why it hit the forefront in 2020 more so than it had before.
And plus people's Twitter fingers, like it was so many people on the internet just stirring up stuff because they don't have anything better to do because they trapped in the house.
Right, that's true too.
I think a lot of those people just say stuff just to get a reaction out of people. I mean, there's definitely a lot of people who buy into that myth that, you know, Black women and Black men are like in this battle against each other. But I think that the more positive representations that we show, not just with our own families, but with the people that we associate with pretty much, for us, 100% strong Black families. So I don't even know if that narrative can survive too much longer, because it's just now with social media, people see us out here winning.
Yeah, I think part of us being able to leave it behind in 2020 is calling those brothers out who aren't doing right by our sisters. I mean, that's our job to do that. And conversely, calling out those sisters who are promoting that dissension, you know, through the whole feminism, the Black feminism narrative. And, you know, I talked to a good friend of mine about this, and I was saying how Black feminism is a problem for the Black community. But I say that, but still believe that Black women should have equal pay. Black women should have all the rights that Black men have, all the protection, all the safety that we have, all the privileges that we have. I believe in all of those tenets, but the narrative that's pushed by many Black feminists that stoke the division between us, I think we need to get away from 100%. So that's how I feel like we're going to really make that change and going into 2021 and promoting more unity within the Black community. Lad, what are you going to leave in 2020?
What I'm going to leave, what I hope we all leave in 2020, and maybe it doesn't hit to everybody personally, but paying lip service to our friends and family members who have endeavors that they're launching, who have plans that they're setting in motion. A lot of times I found myself, particularly in 2020, saying, good luck, great for you, but not putting in the action, not being boots on the ground, not helping them with their political campaigns, not helping them when they're trying to get attention out to their business or to their brand or whatever that they're launching. You know, I'll say good luck. Heck, I might even buy it, but I'm not going to do anything more than that. I'm not going to out there I haven't been out there advocating for those people. And that's something I think that we all should be more conscious of. It's not enough to say good luck or great job. We have to be, because nobody else is going to promote us. we have to promote us from within. And that's one thing, 2021, you're going to see a lot more of that from me.
Yeah. I was fortunate that I launched a couple businesses in 2020, and the support that I got from my friends and family was tremendous. And I think what people know is, I didn't expect for everyone to buy everything that I put out because number one, a lot of people lost jobs, or they had a cut in pay and they weren't able. But it doesn't cost you anything to share somebody's product. It doesn't cost you anything to when they're not in the room to speak. Hey, I got a homeboy or a homegirl that can do this. I put money in a lot of Black people's pockets. See can tell you. If you got a business or a product, I'm gonna try to find a way to use my platform to help you out. And I think more of us need to do that. But I think there's something in our community, not with us and people like us, but some of us have, you used to call it a slave mentality, but I think it's somewhat of like an inherent jealousy that
yeah.
I'm proud of you for doing what you're doing, but I don't want to help you succeed too much because
you're gonna leave me behind.
I'm not there with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that doesn't compute for me because when y'all win, I win. You know what I'm saying? When Aretha wins the whatever bar award, and it's on this, whatever, I'll be like, shit, I'm cussing. I'll be like, she on my show. You know what I'm saying? I'll be drunk too. That's how I look at it. Like, we made it. But there's enough of us that feel that way. And I think it comes like a plantation mentality. And I think, like you said, Lab, if we really actively promoted one another, we ain't got to use money, but words, share, promote. It helps. It really helps, for real.
This is actually the first year that I can say I really did a lot of this. Like, I actively tried to share or promote a different Black business at least once a week. I just do a day where I go through and try to tag people and share. But this is the first year that I've done that. And I just really tried to go out of my way to be supportive in whatever way I could, especially during, like you said, COVID, because nobody else is promoting us. So we got to do it. We got to take responsibility for our own and do what we can.
I saw a meme that said, Black businesses, don't be ashamed to promote your business. I got 20 emails from Fashion Nova today, and they had no shame. You know what I'm saying? So there's
I had to block them. They text you too.
Yeah.
They email and text you. I had to block them.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that are serious about the whole, the rebranding and retargeting. You'll get text messages, you'll get emails, and the algorithm is tough. So don't, even if you just sit here and talk, I bet you, if I look at my phone and it heard us talking about Fashion Nova, I bet you if I scroll, I'll see a Fashion Nova ad on my phone because the iPhone be listening. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. I'm already prepared.
All the phones are listening, not just iPhones, all of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So now we know who doesn't have an iPhone, but yeah.
Right. The whole reason why we got the green
green
bubble on our ugly green bubble on our chat is because of
Because I have a grown-up phone and y'all have that kitty phone.
Functional. It's functional for real. So yeah, but I'm fortunate. C and I have a group that we run, and we have different Black-owned businesses that are the owners are contributors, and we highlight them. And when we highlight them, other people will say like, "Oh, I need somebody like that." I mean, just recently, we found a woman who has her own fashion consulting business, right? And we just did a short blurb. This is what she does. This is her website. I think she got 2 clients in the first day. One was like within the first 2 hours. And that's the power of this, us talking and promoting one another. A lot of the business I get, somebody will buy like my book or one of my drinks, and then they'll post it, and then like 2 or 3 people will be like, "Oh, how do I get that?" And they'll buy it just off GP. So it matters. And it matters with, like Lab said, the people that we have running for office, because it's hard. It's hard to put yourself out there and to run for office and promote yourself. How many people by a show of hands have donated to a political campaign and you don't even live anywhere in that city? I have. I got frat brothers and frat brothers' wives that are running for office, and I ain't in that city, but I want to see them win. So and I don't send much. I may just send $20, but $20 may be able to buy 100 handouts that they can go
Right.
and put on people's car, and that might turn into 10 votes that may put them over the top. So that's something that we could do for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I actually worked the polls for my friend that he ran for political office and won this year. And I actually got out there in the COVID season with my little mask and gloves on, passing out flyers.
Yeah.
I told him, hey, now that I have a politician in office, I'm gonna be needing my first favor real soon.
You need your pardons lined up, huh?
Yeah.
I need some help.
You know, so Dr. Clyde Anderson, Powernomics, you know what I'm saying? First we get the politician in office, then we get the payback, you know what I mean? Unless it's Barack Obama. But anyway, we ain't gonna talk about that. Aretha, what you leaving in 2020? What do you think we should leave in 2020?
You know what? I was gonna say something else, but I want us to leave financial illiteracy in 2020 because one of the things that we've been really working on in my household is preparing for retirement. And so we've been reading like retirement books, but some of that branches off into buying stocks and stuff like that. But there's so many books and so many resources out here that I just feel like there's really no excuse. There's no reason why I should know that I should be putting more money in a Roth IRA than in a regular IRA just because of the benefits, because I'm educated. So if I know that the resources are out there and I know how to get to them, I need to not only be getting to those resources, but sharing that information, like you said, on my platform with my family members, with my circle, with my pod, whatever, so that we could all start doing better, not just now, but building our generational wealth by being properly prepared for the future.
And get you a financial planner. Like, you know, our brother
Yeah.
Armand Crone, get him, you know what I mean? Look him up.
Mhm.
Find somebody that knows money. Again,
Right.
I talked about CNI and our platform. We talked to a brother and he was blowing our mind, right? See, with the stuff he was talking about in terms of like blockchain
was.
technology and the different type of ways that you can make money using property, not just with tenants, but you know, the data mining and the Bitcoin
Yeah.
mining. This brother had all different types of crops and how he was making money off the water on his property. And yeah, I'm
Hey.
for real. I'm for real.
No, that's amazing. I saw something today. There's an NFL player. He's getting half of his money in Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's like up 300% or something in 2020. It's something crazy, man. We're hesitant to get into things like it, whether it's not necessarily crypto, but just investing in general. I think a lot of us have been taught to just put your money in the bank and you'll, just let it rest or put it under the mattress or put it in the shoebox in the closet and all that. And meanwhile, if you would just put it in just a basic mutual fund with no knowledge, you're gaining 10-12% every year, historically. And so if you're even smarter or hone in, I mean, we could be expanding that generational wealth you're talking about, Erika. That was a really good one right there.
I mean, but I also think it goes back to the thing that we talked about in terms of disposable income as well, because while the four of us, we have to recognize we're, better off than a lot of the Black community, even though we feel like we're middle class, we do have to recognize there's a good swath of the Black community that doesn't have it like that. And they don't have that money that they can say, I'm gonna throw it into some blockchain technology, whether it be Bitcoin or whatever, or I'm gonna buy some land or whatever. They're just trying to survive. And the one thing I don't want to get, and what makes me mad, is when people get on their high horse and say, well, you got the $600 iPhone in your pocket. Why can't you do this, that, and the other? Like for real, like you just expect
Right.
people just to like not have enjoy life at all because they are
You're right.
that for a lot of us isn't our fault. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. So yeah, I definitely think financial literacy is an important piece, but I don't want to get like on that high horse because like, a lot was made about the rapper Ecstasy from Houdini and how he had life insurance.
Mm.
And a lot of people were talking, because they got a GoFundMe out right now for
Okay. I didn't know that.
And I agree that it is somewhat ridiculous not to have life insurance as a grown person. But you also have to have some compassion as well, because
Yeah.
you know, I got family members I would love to get a policy on. I know they need a policy, but they're not going to qualify. And if I found a policy, I couldn't afford it.
Right.
So then what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, but the only thing is there's a lot of prepaid program and services that people can invest into. I think a lot of, I don't know if they just don't necessarily trust some of the funeral homes or trust some of the services, but like I know there's one in Topeka, Kansas, there's one in Kansas City, Missouri, to where like you buy what you want for your service and then you just start paying on it now. So I don't know if people are worried that they're going to go out of business or if they're just worried or don't think that they'll ever need it, kind of like people don't feel like. So there's so much that people can do, I guess, to not keep putting their families in a, you know, burden their families once they're gone. And I just think Black people need to look more into those avenues if you can't qualify for, you know, life insurance. Because a lot of times, like you said, by the time we realize it, we're either up here in age or we have pre-existing conditions and things like that. I mean, there's still other things that you can do.
I mean, thankfully, I lost both my parents, and thankfully, they didn't leave us in a position where we had to go into debt or where we lost money. Now, was there anything handed down to create wealth from what they gave to us? No. So I consider myself winning in that regard because I didn't have to pay much money, but I didn't have that trust fund, or my mom and dad left me these properties that I can bank and I can take loans on for my kids to pay for their college education. No, we just don't have that. And I think that's a good portion of our community. But again, going full circle back to what Erika said, that awareness,
Yeah,
knowledge is important. It very much so is. And
Yeah.
it's got to come from people that are relatable as well. I see a lot of rappers like, Rick Ross and E40 that talk a lot about what they do with their money. Our brother Nipsey was big on that, what he,
Yeah.
how to make your money work for you. So if we can get people who are relatable that can pass that message along, I think it'll be a lot better.
Yeah.
See what you got.
I am going to say blind allegiance to any party or organization. With saying that are the ones that really just use us when it fits their narrative, but when we really need help, they're nowhere to be found.
You said a word right there.
For sure.
Mm.
And I think
Either party, but especially the Democratic Party, they've had our blind vote for too many decades now.
my thing is, I've been going hard in the paint for this Georgia election. And the reason why, I'm not a Georgia resident, I live in Texas, but I don't want there to be any excuses for the Biden-Harris administration. I don't.
Right.
Right now, they were trying to get $2,000 for us for a stimulus check, right? And McConnell was like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So if we get it to the point where McConnell he's not in a place to where he can be an obstructionist, what excuse does Biden and Harris have? Then when we say, hey, listen, we got you in the office, now we want something back for us. There's no built-in excuse because they already do it. You know what I'm saying? Well, like, what can he do if the Republicans are there? Nah, player, nah. And he already said that he's not going to use his pen like Trump did. He's not going to do a bunch of executive orders to try to help the Black community. If you heard the video where he was talking to the Black leaders and how bad he was talking to them, which was embarrassing. He's not going to do it. So if we move that excuse out the way, then we're going to apply that pressure because there's no more blind allegiance, like C said.
And we have to apply it first term too. Let's not sit and wait second term to see what happens. Say, oh, we'll just let him get his foot in the door. He's going to come through next time. No, sir, there will not be a next time.
Right. When pressure starts now. Forget January 21st. You know what I'm saying? It need to start now.
Yeah. But I think we're already kind of seeing. I mean, I don't know if you all saw it, but the way he was talking, I mean, look it up. We had a Zoom call with a lot of Black civil rights leaders, and I had to give them their props. They were calling him to task on some stuff. He had some appointments. I can't remember the guy's name, but this guy, really did his sister bad and fired her, unjustly. And Biden gave him an appointment. He's talking about putting Rahm Emanuel, the former mayor of Chicago, in his cabinet.
I was just about to say,
freaking way.
no way.
Rahm Emanuel
No way.
anything after what he did to Laquan McDonald, helping to hide that murder. So, like, you know, would you do that to another community if there was somebody who had a history of anti-Semitism? Do you think that you would that person would be put into office? No. Or put into an administration or into a cabinet position? No, they wouldn't. So why would we tolerate it? I don't see why we should.
But yeah, I don't think that people even really understand what that blind allegiance to the Democratic Party has done to how the Black community is treated as far as representation goes. And I think that we've really talked about that a lot this year. So I hope that more people understand that it's not just about getting a Democrat elected, it's about getting people elected who are going to respond to our needs and put what we think is important at the top of their agenda. And if they're not willing to do that, then we need to replace them with somebody else. The first time, like you said, no wait until the second term to apply pressure, because we've spent too much time, wasted too much time with people who we thought were going to come to our rescue, like everybody's favorite president, and then we don't get anything. The Black community is consistently overlooked. And if we can stop giving them our vote without even making them work for it, we might see some change. Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree. And I you know, just to wrap up, the one thing that I think that I would love to leave in 2020, even though I know it's not going to happen, is COVID-19. COVID's been a beast, man. It's been a beast on the Black community. Right now, I know about 4 or 5 people personally that are sick with the virus right now, and it's tough, man. It's tough, and then, you know, with this holiday that we, you know, the Christmas and New Year's holiday, and so many people traveling, and now that new, more aggressive variant that came from the UK, they found that in Colorado, and it's here, you know, which they say it's not more deadly, but it's more contagious. So with it being more contagious, that this accelerates how the numbers can keep growing and spiking. And we're getting hit hard with it as a Black community. A lot of Black men are getting hard with it because a lot of us have pre-existing conditions. Even if you're not overweight like me or whatever, you got high blood pressure, or you just deal with the day-to-day stress of being a Black man in America and the effects that has on your body and on your insides, on your arteries and everything else. So I'd like to leave COVID-19 in 2020, 2021. As soon as the vaccine is popping, I'm getting it. For sure.
I'm in line. Yeah, exactly.
For sure. What about our two?
Yeah, I'm good on that.
What about our two?
I'm not.
Y'all gonna get it?
Hell no.
She ain't gonna have no choice. She's professional. She ain't gonna have no choice.
No, we do. There was actually an email about it today. It was a long thread all day. They were going back and forth. So it's not going to be mandatory right now. But I don't know. I just feel like I need to give it some more time.
See how many zombies pop up.
Yeah, I mean, early in the year, they just said that there's just no way they could get it done within 7 years. Or it takes 7 years to perfect it, but they think they can get it in like 3 or 4 years. Next thing you know, 7 months, and everybody's getting injected. So, but I mean, like we talked about before, I do think that a lot of diseases, you know, that we don't face right now are because of, you know, vaccines. But I also just don't think that if you can't not know about a disease just 12 months ago and then all of a sudden you have a vaccine. Now, granted, coronaviruses aren't new, but this particular strain is. So how all of a sudden do you just have a vaccination just so soon? So no, I'm not going to rush to get it, but I don't discourage what else to though. I think if you really feel like, you know what I'm saying, you're at risk, and, you know, it's the difference between you getting over COVID-19 and living your life, or either, you know, being, you know, dead and gone, or having to have limbs removed, or being on, you know, ventilators and having to deal with lung issues for the next 20 or 30 years. And I definitely feel that you should get the vaccination if you have the opportunity.
Well, I think probably within the next couple of shows, we need to have an expert on to talk about it. There's been a lot of people who they've been targeting the Black community pretty tough with different medical and health leaders to talk about it, because a lot of people have, you know, rightfully so, have misgivings about it. because we have been abused by the medical industry. Not that something's wrong with us, that we're paranoid. We've been abused. We've been mistreated. Um, I do think that there's more safety measures in place that will protect us from something like Tuskegee happening again. I do trust the science. I think that the way that the old method of finding the vaccination would take 7 to 10 years, like you said, C. But from what I've read, this is newer technology that is based off of, different variants of the coronavirus. So, none of us are medical experts, and, so we need to have somebody on who can talk about it and present the facts, because I believe in science. I believe in global warming, I believe in all of that. So definitely need to have it in place, and then that way people can make an informed decision, because my thing is either way, I'm getting it. So if y'all get it, I won't. And, too sad, so bad, but I'll be straight. I'm going to be at the club with no mask on, throwing ones. Y'all going
Come to St. Charles. You could do that now.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, but I don't like kicking it with the Trumpers. I like kicking it with the black.
Oh yeah.
So,
That's all
Hey,
what I was gonna say about them pushing it to the Black community. Well, there's a lot of other stuff they can do to make the Black community more trusting. Don't give it to us because you're saying that we're affected the most by COVID-19. Like, what are you doing to balance out like those health disparities that the Black
right.
community faces? Like, are you getting us better nutrition in our neighborhoods? Are you getting better stores and stuff like that? Like, we can't eat the same because and that has a lot to do with economics. We're a lot of our bigger cities, they're having to take like subways, and they're bunched up together and things like that. And so there's just so many other things that affect why we're so affected disproportionately, not just the COVID-19, but the diabetes and all the other stuff, rather than, oh, you guys get this, so I'm going to try, you go ahead and take the vaccination first. Like, it's hard for us to trust it. Like, when have you ever wanted to give us anything to benefit us first? And it's not just because they think that Tuskegee and everybody's going to grow all these limbs or everybody's going to get sick or die, but just like help us do other stuff too. And then maybe people will be lined up to get it.
I think that's good.
I believe that. I believe there will be zombies.
But I think what you're saying is right, but you do have to eliminate the immediate danger. But right now, the immediate danger is COVID. It is, what I'm saying? That's like, hey, there's wolves outside, there's zombies outside, but the house is on fire. You gonna worry about the wolves and the zombie, or you gonna take care of the fire? You gotta take care of the imminent threat. So I do think all those things need to be addressed, and those need to be addressed by the Biden-Harris, cabinet. A lot of that goes with what we talk about, reparations. A lot of us can't afford healthy options with food because we're trying to stretch. So, what I'm gonna buy that processed food. Even though long term it's more costly to be unhealthy than it is to eat healthy on the front end. But how many people can see that when you're just trying to make it from check to check?
Yeah. And also it goes back to supporting our own as well, because in our communities, typically there's not a healthcare clinic. There might be one in the city, that people have access to, but man, as soon as you go to the suburbs, it's like 8 hospitals on the same block, 8 doctors' clinic, they're all there. So people who don't have access right where they are, it's a whole day ordeal to go to the doctor. And a lot of people are working jobs where if you take a day off, you don't get paid, or if you take a day off, you get docked, written up, things, all kind of things. So it goes back to supporting us, making sure those things are in our community, and we have to be intentional about it.
Right. But
and then, like you said, they cut public funding a lot too, so it may be harder to get in to see like, a public clinic or a doctor or something in a lot of our Black communities than, like you said, the suburbs.
Yeah. And I again, like I said, I think we're the expert on here because somebody that we can trust to talk about it intelligently, who's going to be open and willing. Because one thing you can't do for Black people is be condescending when you're trying to pass the message.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And I think a lot of so-called upper echelon Black people, they do that. They come with this whole condescending approach about, you stupid MFers need to just do this and do what we say. We saw it a lot with the whole vote for Biden and Harris. And then when we get Biden Harris in, and you're like, okay, so what Biden Harris going to do for us? Well, I mean, what do you want him to do? I mean, you know, so then they start to come in and harm, like, nah, Negro, nah, we ain't trying to do that, you know. And that goes back to, and this last thing I think we need to leave in 2020 is being excited just because there's a black face on something. A lot of us got excited.
Or that's
Yeah, that's
man.
deep.
Biden putting black people into his cabinet, and I said I wasn't impressed. I'm not impressed. I see
Me either. Me either.
So, and what really makes that stand out is the black woman who was being touted as being responsible for the vaccine for COVID. And they said, well, you black people should be at ease because a black woman helped create it. Well, there was some social media posts found from her where she was talking real greasy about black people, especially ADOS. So should we really be, that comforted that she's the person behind it? Now, I'm not saying that to dissuade people because I'm still taking the vaccine, but I'm just saying that this black face doesn't mean that it's okay.
Right.
I remember we talked about was it Queen and Slim?
Yeah.
That movie, and at the beginning of the movie, when they first shot the cop, and the person was pulling up, and Slim said, "Hopefully they're a black person," and Queen said, "That ain't always a good thing." That was knowledge right there. Just because they put a black face on it, don't mean it's a good thing all the time.
And she was really talking about herself, not the actress.
Right.
Historically, right? What have they used to tear down the black movements, that have been up? It's not been white people. It's been black people that have been paid by white people or have been directed by white people to infiltrate. So yeah.
I was talking about her Twitter rants too.
Her too, yeah, for sure. She's in that same boat. She's in that same boat. But it's just like, we see these black people just shut up and vote for Biden. Just shut up and vote. We ain't got time to do all that. But then when you got somebody like Ice Cube, who is like, hey, listen, let's talk about some policy. Then they're like, oh, you're not savvy enough, Cube. Why are you even talking? But then if you ask those same people, okay, now that you got Biden in, what are you going to ask for him? I don't know. So what makes you better than Cube? Because you got a college degree?
Right. If that.
Right.
Twitter fingers.
Right, Twitter fingers.
We're leaving that in 2022.
Right.
Not 2022, but 2020 as well. But anyway, I think we talked about it enough. Everybody make sure you follow us on social media at Man Listen Show on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure you share the show. Use the hashtag Man Listen. We appreciate all the support that we got in 2020. And we look forward to bringing you some dope content in 2021. Happy New Year. We'll holler at you next time. Peace.
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 Holla.